All right. Shitty loss. Nothing to say. I'm going to go right to JJ Redick. He's talking, and then I'll start looking at everybody's comments. Lakers lose to the Bulls. Let's take a listen.
Don't want to put yourself in that. I mean, if I had two, I would have taken it automatically. Felt, super comfortable with the lineup we had out there to get the ball in. And, we just didn't execute it. Still had, I think, time to call the timeout. But, I think in that situation, the thought process was, get it in if we can. If not, call a timeout.
2 straight nights of kind of similar games in some ways where you have control and there are these big runs in short amounts of times. Where did you see any through line defensively about kind of not being able to get stops in certain moments? Or
they shot 11 of 14 from 3. I mean, that's 11 of 14 in an empty gym is really good. So that's unreal shooting.
Yeah, go ahead.
The fourth. I'm done.
Fourth, yeah.
Defensively, you guys in the second and third quarter had whatever that kind of thing was that had been missing in times. Did you see, obviously, hot shooting is hot shooting, but earlier in that fourth quarter, did you see let up in any way from your team in terms of execution?
No. I mean, you got to figure, too, 3-on-1 Kobe White transition 3, a 3-on-2 Kobe White transition 3. I mean, in the half court, we were great.
I disagree completely, by the way. We'll get into that.
Lost the result, but we've talked about the balance between LeBron, Luka, and Austin trying to figure things out. And what do you make of Austin and his ability to make plays down the stretch and kind of having the ball in his hands and execute it?
Yeah, he was phenomenal tonight. All three of those guys were great. And
disagree with that. Get into that.
Luka, LeBron, AR, those three. It's not just the points and the plays. It's their leadership. They were great. They were great on that end tonight.
Yep. Earlier this season, you guys suffered a gut punch loss to the Magic at home, and it hit you guys in a way. Like it seemed like afterwards there was like ramifications from that. Is that something you're going to recall too at all in terms of? Obviously, it's a different team, a different group, but the way you guys can manage that.
I mean, it's the third one. It's the third one because the Atlanta game too. We had that game won. So it's, there's games throughout the year that happen like that. I think to every team, and you can look back. Oh, we should have done this, should have done that. We got one last night in Indy. We lost in a half court shot. Like I thought, overall, outside of a couple of plays, the execution, the shots we were getting. They don't play defense. They don't get stops. That's what he should say.
How do you, kind of to Dan's question, how do you make sure that there's no emotional, carryover from these last 2 nights going into Saturday's game against Memphis?
We're not in a position to feel sorry for ourselves.
It was Jackson tonight, and he got the tip in late, and it just felt like, anytime they were shifting away from him, he got a basket.
Yeah, he was
final one.
Good on the offensive end. I thought his poise on some of his catches where, obviously the lobs are one thing, but just catching it, whether it was in the pocket or on dump off passes, not rushing, first jump hook of his career. Was really happy to see that. But no, he was great. And then I thought as the game went on, and particularly late in the fourth quarter, the adjustment without playing with his hands and just playing with his hands back, he was able to draw that charge on Kobe White. So he was great.
All right, stop it right there. Appreciate you guys tuning into the show. Thank you for being here. I know that's not too often that I start a post-game show and I go right to the JJ Redick, but he was getting ready to talk, so obviously I wanted to hear what he had to say. Guys, I don't even know what to say. I mean, I have no idea what to say. Let me first do this. Let me kind of react a little bit to what JJ Redick just said, because I actually disagree with a lot of what JJ Redick said. That was not a good basketball game. I mean, yes, the Lakers were about to steal the game. Yes, you're going to walk away. I was saying this yesterday. A lot of people were trying to tell me this yesterday after they beat the Pacers. There were a lot of people that were saying, Al, they almost blew that lead late, and you're right. And all of a sudden, they stopped executing. And all of a sudden, they just stopped playing defense. And I'm not telling you, I think JJ said maybe they went 11 of 14. I don't know. It's 8 of 11, 11, 14, whatever he said from the 3-point line in the fourth quarter. And I know that's absurd. That's insane. But does somebody want to explain to me, and these are the things that I disagree with JJ Redick on, what are they doing on offense in the last couple of minutes of a game? What are they doing? As much tonight as you can point at LeBron's careless, makes no sense pass when the Lakers had a 6-point lead with whatever it was, 15 seconds left to go, and then with 6 seconds left to go, Lakers are down. However you want to describe that moment right there. Does JJ want to run a couple of plays towards the end of the game just so everybody's not standing around waiting for the shot clock to run out, and then you're going to take a bad shot up until the shot clock? I understand you want to run some clock. Cool. What's the play? What's the play? Is it just take turns? Luka, you take a 3. Luka, you get close to the basket and hope you get a good shot off. LeBron, you take a shot at the end of the shot clock. Reaves, your turn. I thought where the Lakers lost the game is when they get up 8, 10, 12 points, all of a sudden, they just stop executing. There's no ball movement. Everybody's watching the ball, and you're hoping and praying that the clock just comes to zeros so you can walk away with a win. They did that yesterday, and they escaped with a win. They did that today, and frankly, they got what they deserved with a 119-117 loss. I haven't come on here too often and bitched and complained about JJ Redick. I'll complain about JJ Redick tonight. This was multiple people that have a hand in this loss. JJ's one of them. Run some plays at the end of the game. Do something at the end of the game. They are so predictable. And it's just ISO ball. Tell me what team in the NBA that's a true threat to go win an NBA championship only plays ISO ball. It's impossible. You can't win that way. And especially if you have a lead and you're in a position where it's the Chicago Bulls that have to be desperate. It's the Chicago Bulls that have to do everything they can to obviously extend the game and see if they can get extra possessions. They got to be a little bit more aggressive on defense. This, that, this, and this. Why are you just watching the clock tick? The clock ain't going to tick. Just play ball. That part was very, very frustrating to me. All right, let's go to some of the final couple of possessions if somebody wants me to help me understand this. Lakers at one point, I think, took a 12, 13-point lead, and then before you know it, Chicago goes on a run. They cut it down to 5. Lakers get another lead, and the next thing you know, they cut it down to 4. When the Bulls would go on their spurts, it was like this. Bang, bang, couple of threes, bucket, and ones that were just make no sense why you're giving up and ones. Some of the predicaments and the situations that the Lakers were in. Kobe White goes off, turnover after turnover. I'm kind of at a loss of words on this loss. And I do think watching the game yesterday, I'm going to go back to what I said yesterday, where I was trying to say, guys, I understand. There were some moments at the end of that game that were ugly. It shouldn't have been that close. It shouldn't have been a LeBron tip-in. But the Lakers were desperate for a W. Kind of don't care how you get it. Get the win and move on. And Indiana, I think, is a good team. Chicago's been playing some good basketball, but when you got a lead of 14, 15 points, when you start extending that lead in the third quarter, Lakers, I want to say, were maybe a plus 15 in the third quarter where they had struggles. You're going to follow that up in the fourth quarter, giving up 44 points. How does a squad in one quarter have 17 points, the Chicago Bulls, and then follow that up with a 44-point fourth quarter? That's what the Lakers saw tonight. I'm watching some of the highlights right here. Ball movement in that third quarter. Jordan Goodwin playing fantastic. Jackson Hayes having impact. Austin Reaves doing what he does. Luka finally hitting a couple of shots when he was struggling. LeBron cutting. Screen and roll action. Luka throwing lobs to LeBron. The ball was moving. And for the Lakers, however you want to describe it, but when their offense is going, you can definitely tell that it does impact their defense, getting offensive rebounds, getting loose balls. And then they just completely go away from it. You know, I just very simply put here, it's tough to look at this team, and if 2-3 weeks ago, before LeBron's injury, where they were running through the league and we thought, hey, this is a real championship contender, how do you watch these last 2 weeks and say to yourself, oh, yeah, this team can beat anyone in the West? How? And by the way, I'm not telling you if Josh Giddey doesn't hit that final shot half court at the buzzer, I'm not telling you that then that means, yes, Lakers are back and now they're in an unbelievable position. It means you kind of stole one and you continue to move on. But that's just bad basketball. Even if Lakers got the win, there were going to be some things that I'd bitch and complain about. But unbelievable how they lost this game. Unbelievable, like I said. I'm not sure what Bron was doing. You know, I'm listening to James Worthy at the end of right after the game. I got no idea what he's doing with that pass. No idea. And that's not LeBron's first lazy pass. It's not going to be his last lazy pass. And Lakers had a timeout. Just a really, really bad, shitty loss. Look, did it take a 40-plus footer from Josh Giddey at the buzzer? Yes, it did. But I thought there were other plays that led to this loss more than just one final shot by Josh Giddey. The Chicago Bulls should have never been in this game at the end with 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and they found themselves that they were because the Lakers just do not know how to execute towards the end of games, and they just want to play iso ball. That ain't championship basketball. That's going to get you nowhere in the Western Conference. If you think that's going to be your model to be successful against the Oklahoma City Thunder, the Houston Rockets, if the Warriors are healthy, a Clippers team that's been hot, I think it's going to be tough sledding if you think that's what the Lakers are set up for based on the way they've been playing here over the last 2 weeks or so. All right, I'm going to take a look at some of these comments here in just a second, but I do want to see one thing here. I'm watching Spectrum. The Lakers are up 10, and look how quick things just changed for the Bulls. 4.5 to go. They're up 10. They were actually up more than that. They were up 13, and then they had Kobe White gets a shot, and you got a couple different players that get shots, and before you know it, it's a 5-point game. LeBron actually got a bucket. It was one of those ISO plays. This one worked, and he gets to the basket, and they go up 7 with about 2:50 left to go. Now they're only up 4. They get another bucket. This is when Jackson Hayes got a dunk. They go up 6 with about 1:50 to go. I just want to see exactly when it was at its worst. Then Luka steps back, misses a 3, but Hayes tips it in. Jackson Hayes actually a really nice game. Then it's 4 again. Then they cut it down to 1. Just unbelievable how are you giving up a 3 when you're up 4 and you're not forcing these guys to drive the ball? Just not smart plays. It's the best way I can put it. Just not smart plays. Reaves put the Lakers up 3. We know that. Eventually for the Lakers, they would get up by 5, and then they give up a lead in the final couple of seconds of the game. I'm honestly at a loss of words. I don't know what to say. All right, let me look at some of the comments here. 409 comments waiting for me here in the chat. Nelson Henriquez, LeBron lost us that game. Some BS. I got no idea what LeBron was doing. I got no idea what LeBron was doing. I want to see that inbound one more time. Yeah, I just missed it. I got no idea what he was doing. And you have a timeout, and you're LeBron. You're a 22-year vet in this league. I got no idea what he's doing. And look, I think the thing that's going to get lost in all this, people are going to look at Josh Giddey hitting that final shot. They lost the game before that Josh Giddey shot. I know Giddey hit a half-court shot literally at the buzzer with LeBron in his face. By the way, too clean of a look as well. If you know they're going to be shooting a half-court shot, why is anybody even back? I don't know. They don't have enough time to go all the way down the floor. But Lakers didn't lose that game on the Josh Giddey shot. Lakers lost that game because they had no idea what they were doing execution-wise on offense towards the end of the game, and just some careless, stupid turnovers that cost them the game. Nelson, I appreciate the super, brother. Thank you for the super here. All right, let's go. By the way, we'll just go tonight. However long it takes to freaking figure out how the hell the Lakers lost this game, we'll do it. As soon as LeBron talks, Luka, anybody else, we'll get into it as well. LeBron is quickly becoming more trouble than he is worth. Hot take if I'm the Lakers and Giannis is available, I'm trading LeBron same way AD got traded. So just so I understand this, and I appreciate, listen, I got no problem with anybody sending me any message. You send me any message that you want, as long as you're not disrespectful or any of that stuff, and I'm happy to read it. But just so I understand this, So if you picked up the phone today and you called the Milwaukee Bucks and you said, hey, we're interested in Giannis and we want to give you LeBron James, what do you think the Milwaukee Bucks would say? Let me ask whoever is asking the question or whoever is making the comment. If you're the Milwaukee Bucks, are you saying, you know what, I'm going to trade Giannis to the Lakers because I want a 40-year-old LeBron James? If you thought the Luka trade was stupid, this would be the stupidest trade in NBA history. Just ain't going to happen. You know what I'm talking about, right? Like, obviously, for the Milwaukee Bucks, that makes no sense at all. Slee, need some emotional support from you and the Lakers family. I need to make it through the day. By the way, let me just go back to this real quick. Not trying to be disrespectful to your comment, but obviously that trade's not going to happen. I think the point that you're really trying to make is, hey, I see LeBron going like this. If you want to say that, I understand it, but I appreciate the super. Joser, if you want some emotional support, stay right here. I think there'll be a lot of Laker fans that feel the exact same way that you feel. Let me actually look at some numbers here. Let's look at everybody today and let's see how they did. All right. I had some frustrations in this game, and you know, some of them was falling on Luka, some of them was falling on some of these other players. But let me just kind of point out how everybody did. Austin Reaves, 30 points, 10 of 17, just 3 of 9 from the 3-point line. But he's a trooper, man. He was struggling, really struggling with that ankle injury as well, and still made it happen for the Lakers with 30. Got that final bucket as well. Luka, I don't know why Luka gets so caught up shooting those threes. I got to be honest with everybody. And, you know, it's funny. The three's not falling, and I know the type of player Luka is. Certain players in the league, this is what happens. When you're a great player, you start taking things personal when things are not going your way. So Luka, every three he missed, I'm sure Luka was saying to himself, F you, the next three is going in. He's talking to himself. I see, you know, we watch players like this. Some of the greats out there that got just ridiculous confidence in themselves. I'm going to miss a three. Cool. I'm going to hit the next one. I missed 2 more threes. Cool. I'm going to hit the next one. I thought Luka was relying too much on the 3-point line. And then, you know, he saw a couple falls. So then, you know, you almost kind of find yourself shutting your mouth and saying, all right, well, that's what Luka's going to do because he's one of the greats in the game. But Luka's overall stat line, 8 of 22. The problem is 12 of those shots were from the 3-point line. I didn't like that. I wish he tried to get to the basket a little bit more because when he does get to the basket, I think 2 things happen. Either he gets himself a much better shot. I heard Stu Lance talking about this, and he's right. Every shot Luka misses is short. Every shot. Maybe not enough legs in it. Even when he gets to the basket or it's the 3-point attempts that he's taken, a lot of these shots are coming up short. So Luka's stat line overall, as I, you know, kind of sit here and read it off, 25, 10, and 7, but 8 of 22 from the field, 4 of 12 from the 3-point line. That ain't going to get it done. LeBron. I think there's an interview coming here, so I'm keeping an eye out. LeBron, 17 points, 12 assists, 4 turnovers, 5 rebounds, 8 of 20 from the field, 0 of 5 from the 3-point line. If I'm going to be honest with everybody, I don't really care about what the Lakers did offensively. It was just, I don't really care about their shooting percentage either. It's just the type of shots that you get, the execution that you run, and just not having careless mistakes. Guys, if they replayed this game 1,000 times with a 5-point lead and 15 seconds left, you lose 1 time out of 1,000. Tonight was the 1 time, and the Lakers happened to find a way to make that happen. Unbelievable how they made that happen. Jackson Hayes, nice performance, 19 and 8 for him. Dorian Finney-Smith, not much from him tonight, just 3 points, 3 assists. I thought the bench was excellent for the Lakers. You had about 24, 25 points. Here's LeBron. Let's go to Bron here. He's talking. He's going to explain that final play here real quick. Here's LeBron on the Lakers' loss against.
In position to win. Gave up a lot of threes in the fourth quarter. We still put ourselves in position to win. Horrible turnover by myself. Bad miscommunication. Play before that. And, AR still hit a big bucket, try to save us. And then, tip your hat if someone makes a game winner from half court.
What's the kind of the proper way to, and you just contextualize this game specifically, but what's the proper way to deal with the emotion on this side, relative to last night?
There's another game in 2 days, or less than 2 days. That's how you do it.
These last, I guess, both fourth quarters, there have just been these kind of wild swings where you go on a big run, Pacers return it, like the same thing tonight with Chicago. What have you thought of that and kind of how that's happening?
We can't give up 40 plus. We gave up 32 in the first quarter, and then we played great ball from there on. 26 in the second, 17 in the third. We give up 44. You're not going to, no matter how many points you have, it's going to be just not good ingredients for success.
How much of the fourth quarter do you think was just like unreal hot shooting from them, and how much of it was defensive sort of maybe intensity?
Listen, I had 19 threes once again. They've been shooting the piss out the balls of late. Statistics doesn't show for the season, but they've been cashing. I thought, we put ourselves in position to win. We just didn't win.
I mean, the last thing you guys want to do is foul Getty in that situation. You and Austin did kind of run at him at least. Is that kind of all you can do in that situation?
Yeah.
Good to remind us, this is the third time you guys have had almost like this. The Orlando won, Atlanta won in Atlanta. You mentioned you guys do have another game in 2 days. What's the key to not letting the emotions of tonight carry over into Saturday?
That's the NBA. That's the NBA. You can't go into a game on Saturday thinking about what happened on Thursday.
What did you see defensively in the second and third quarter?
We were in tune with the game plan. We executed. I thought we played well enough to win, obviously, but we didn't cash in.
At this stage of the season, is it difficult to keep like the focus on small picture stuff? I mean, there's obviously really big picture stuff coming pretty quickly in terms of the postseason. Is it tough to just focus on the next 48 minutes?
No.
Is that what needs to happen?
That's what's been happening.
Last two.
In the larger context of things, that there's still not a ton of games that you guys have all played together, and JJ said the offense could come down to the comfort factor between you, Austin, and Luka. To see Austin perform late game situation tonight, does that help the process, between the three of you, just getting those reps and seeing
it was great that we executed, JJ drew up a play and we executed that. So, that's great in-game execution.
Last question.
I know you kind of expect this from Austin, but he turns the ankle, but kind of stays in, makes a couple key plays. Is that just, what you know about him?
Yeah, AR, he's tough as nails. So, his game is, he's great. Happy that he continues to make strides in his career. And, I've been seeing it the whole time, the whole way I've been along with him the whole ride. So it's been awesome.
All right. Keep moving here. LeBron says that some miscommunication, blames the turnover, obviously, on himself. Lakers find a way to lose. Man, I haven't seen a loss like this in a while. Got to be honest with everybody. I haven't seen a loss like this in a while. Oh, man. That's bad. That's bad basketball. That's bad basketball. The chat is kind of funny today. Trying to think here how to handle the chat. Let me keep going on some of these comments here. I start a couple that I want to talk about here real quick. Zach, I agree with you on this one. This is why I was saying a lot of this loss also should go on JJ Redick. Got to run plays, guys. You guys ever watching the NFL? Back in the days when I was a Charger fan, okay? Chargers were still in San Diego. I loved me some Chargers football. And then they stabbed my city in the back. That piece of shit owner, by the way. They moved, so I don't follow them anymore. All right, back in the day, you guys remember Marty Schottenheimer? Marty Schottenheimer was known as one of the best coaches in the NFL. But late game situations, guy kind of choked. A lot of times Marty was way too hold on the ball, run the clock. You got a little bit of a lead and just kind of panicked. Just the coaching. He didn't coach the same way he did for 3 quarters. And you were just looking at that. What do they say? All of a sudden that team starts going to a prevent defense. the way you got the win, all of a sudden you become a completely different team. Now you see coaches, there's coaches in, not just now, but all the time. There were coaches in the NFL, when they got in a position like that, they went for the throat. Cool, you're having trouble breathing? Sounds good. I'm going to go ahead and go for the throat. We're going to call this thing a game. And 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter, we're still trying to score. And, you think about certain franchises. You think of the Pittsburgh Steelers. You think of Baltimore. You think of Sean McVay with the Rams. Like, squad's got a lead. They're not holding on to that lead. They're trying to go for the kill. I thought JJ tonight, and I thought in yesterday's game as well, why are they trying to hold on to a lead? Like, oh, we got a lead, so let's now do the complete opposite of what we did to get the lead. It literally reminds me of the NFL when you start going prevent defense, and then the offense, all of a sudden, everybody stops throwing the ball, and they just sit there, try to run the ball, and it's the most predictable thing ever. ISO ball for 3-4 minutes. Run some plays. Run some plays. Here's one from William Rodriguez. You can't play AR, Luka, and Bron together. They're all lazy defenders that take plays off. Here's the beauty, I think, with this team. Either way, whatever happens the rest of the season, okay? I think now 9 games left to go, if I'm right. Chance, by the way, chance to gain some ground here on Memphis tonight. That's the other part of this L that really hurts the Lakers. Memphis lost to the Oklahoma City Thunder. Memphis isn't playing well. I don't even know who's going for them. I think John Morant is still out. He is. We'll see if he plays when the Lakers take on Memphis coming up on Saturday. I think most Laker fans are probably in the chat saying, well, of course he's going to play. But Memphis is going the wrong way too. They're not playing well. So you had a chance to gain some ground on the Memphis Grizzlies. You had a chance there to have a little bit of a cushion. Now you're still right in the same position. Lakers 44-29, Memphis 44-29. You had a chance to gain a little bit of ground on Denver, make things a little bit more interesting with the Rockets. Now it's basically looking like you ain't getting up to that number 2 spot, probably fighting for the 4 or 5 spot. We'll see what happens the rest of the way. Just a missed opportunity. But what you're talking about here about lazy defenders and how those 3 are going to be, the point that I was trying to make was there's going to come a point for the Lakers, and I think this is going to be a good thing. We're just going to have to see how things play out. And maybe this roster can be dangerous in the playoffs, and maybe it can't. And maybe having those 3 together is fantastic, or maybe it's a real problem. So only one way to find out, and we're going to find out over these next 9 games and then the postseason coming here. HH, thank you, brother. You're always very, very kind. I know you do this a couple times during the post-game show. You've done this before. I appreciate it. Thank you, brother. Thank you for doing that. Lake Show Flow. We played not to lose rather than playing to win. Basically, that whole rant I had about the NFL, I could have summed it up in these 8-9 words, how many words that is. We played not to lose rather than playing to win. Go for the win. Go for the kill. And you end the game by doing the same things you were doing to get to that lead. Defense turns to offense. The ball is moving. Luka's finding ways to get in the paint. If he gets in the paint, he's making looks. He's getting lobs. He's doing this. He's doing that. He's setting up other guys or setting up himself. They went away from that. And they did that against the Pacers late game as well. And I think, obviously that hurt them as well, but they got a chance to win it. Here is Patty. It's okay. We just got to get to this postseason healthy. I hope so. I hope that's the case. I hope that's going to be the difference for the Lakers, and they just get to the postseason, and then they can make things happen. I guess what you can say is part of the good news here is there's a lot of teams in the West right now that are kind of a little bit up and down. Memphis being one of them. Denver, they're kind of trying to get healthy again. They're a little up and down as well. Houston's been balling. OKC's been balling. Warriors were playing good up until Steph got hurt. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Let's get some more in here, and then as soon as we can hear, we'll from somebody else, we'll get into it. I don't want to see LeBron James for the next 2 games. What a choker! What's funny about some Laker fans out there? It's funny to me with LeBron. It's like, let me read another one here. These throw me off. Real Laker fans' allegiance is to Kobe Bean, not LeBron. Like I just don't understand these comments. So LeBron makes a bad inbounds play. Lakers lose. What does Kobe have to do with anything? What does he have to do with anything? Explain that one to me. I don't. If you're a Laker fan, if I told you, tell me the greatest Laker of all time, and there's only 3 answers that could potentially come up, and I'm talking about players. Most would say Kobe, 5 championships, 20 years in the NBA, 20 years all with the Lakers. Some would say Kareem, you know his resume. Some would say Magic, you know his resume. There's 10 championships between the two of them, 5 apiece. Magic never played in another jersey, right? Kareem came from the Milwaukee Bucks. It's not like anybody's saying LeBron's the greatest Laker. LeBron is just a chapter of Lakers history. He's got nothing to do with Kobe or Magic or Jerry West or Shaquille O'Neal or Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I don't get on some of these comparisons. I really don't. Reaves is talking. Let's get to Reaves here real quick. Keep the comments coming. I don't have a problem talking about it. I just don't understand.
And then seeing the ball go through for Chicago.
We drew up a good play. I got a good look, made it, and then you're just trying to keep the ball in front. You don't want them to, throw a ball to, half to where they can get, close to the 3-point line for, a 3. And we did a pretty good job of that. They threw it back to Getty, and he made the shot. I mean, we won on a buzzer beater last night. Tip your hat. I mean, he made a hell of a shot.
The replay showed your ankle rolls pretty good there. LeBron said this is just something they expect, though. They know you're tough as nails. But how do you mentally kind of and physically push through that to go out and still play after that kind of thing?
You just want to be there for my teammates. It's not the first time I've rolled my ankle. Probably won't be the last. And I like playing. I like being in the game to, be able to kind of control the game. And if I, sit out with it, I can't play, and I'm not able to control what I want to. So just try to forget about it and focus on trying to win.
You've got Luka Donic and LeBron James out there, and I don't know if the play was called specifically for you, like in that kind of a sense. What kind of continued confidence does that keep building as you continue on your career for plays like that?
A lot. I mean, like you said, LeBron's arguably the greatest player ever, and Luka's they're going to go down as one of the best players to ever play as well. So I've said it many a times. I've barely got my foot in the league, and just trying to take advantage of all the opportunities. And they trusted me in that moment. I just want to go try to be successful for them.
All right, stop right there. I want to keep going. A lot going on here. A lot going on in the chat. There's obviously a lot to talk about. Let's see. Gary says, Slee, it was a sidebar comment response for LeBron boys, not a blanket statement. Okay. Do your thing. Again, I'm all good with whatever you guys say here, as long as you guys are not obviously being disrespectful. And I'm just going to see comments as I go. And if I feel like, hey, that's an interesting topic, or that person feels this way, then I'm going to address it. So I got nothing personal, nothing. You guys don't have to justify anything. We're all on here and we're just reacting after, obviously a game. All right, let's see what we got here. Let me find another one. I know we got a lot. Damn, we got a lot coming in here. Corbin with a super here. By the way, if you sent a super and I skipped it, I'm getting to it. Don't worry. I just kind of all over the place with some of the chats. Thank you for being here, everybody. Please do me a favor. Can you guys subscribe to the channel? I was looking at some stats today. About 65% of those that come to the channel are subscribed, which is a great number, to be honest with you. I see that as a lot lower. That shows me that people are here, want to be here. That leaves me about 35% that are unsubscribed. So if you're here and you're hanging out, if you can subscribe, I'd greatly appreciate it. It's a great way to support the channel. Slee, what are we doing, man? Giving up 2 threes in 6 seconds late in a close game. We got to get you in the huddle with your inspirational quotes. Can I tell you something? What's worse, giving up 2 threes in 6 seconds or 3 threes in 15 seconds? I've never seen that before. You know what it made me think of? Tell you guys what it made me think of. You guys remember that playoff game? Reggie Miller, the Pacers and the Knicks, Spike Lee on the sidelines. And it was Reggie gets a 3 And then I forget who's inbounding the ball. It might be Charles Oakley. I can't remember. It was a Patrick Ewing. I don't know. It was a big that was inbounding the ball. And somebody falls, and Reggie gets the steal and goes behind the three-point line and hits another three. That's what it reminded me of. The difference is if you thought that one hurt, no. It could actually get worse for your squad, because then you're going to go on the other end, hit a shot, and after you're done hitting your shot, they're going to come back and hit another three and get 3 threes off in 15 seconds. What? I've never heard of that. Let me tell you guys, don't do this, because it's going to ruin the way you watch the game. So when I'm here and I'm prepping and I'm getting ready for the post-game show, there's stuff I got to work on. I got to get the thumbnail ready. I got to update the score. I got to get YouTube going. I use a service called StreamYard. So I got a lot of shit going on. And the Spectrum broadcast, any of the broadcasts are always behind. If you look at the score on ESPN, I got the box score up. I'm looking at the team stats, the stats from, from everybody. I'm looking at the stats both ways. And I stopped watching the game, but I'm listening to it. And I'm on the ESPN stats because I'm like, all right, I think I could get the final score. Lakers are up 115-110. I think that was the score, 115-110. They're up 5. And I'm looking, and all of a sudden it just said 115-113. I'm like, they gave up a 3? And Spectrum's behind. And then like 2 seconds later, it said 116-115 Chicago. And I'm like, okay, it was somebody effed up. You can't score 6 points in that amount of time. And the clock's just stopped at 6. And I'm like, that did not just happen. Like that, obviously there's a mistake. Then I turn to Spectrum. There's 1-3. There's the inbounds. There's another 3, and it's 116-115. And I'm just looking back and forth. I'm like, what the F just happened in a matter of 10 seconds? Corbin, thank you for the super, brother. I appreciate you. All right, let's look at a couple more here. If Luka talks, I'll go to Luka. But to be honest with you, I'm more kind of curious to look at your guys' comments. The curse of Cam Reddish. Man, you know how bad Northborough AES, thank you for the super. Do you know how bad I wanted to come on here and talk a little bit about Goodwin? Do you know how bad I wanted to just sit there and talk about how much I enjoy watching him play? And I'm glad that Jordan Goodwin made his way to this Laker roster. Just great effort. I wanted to give him some praise. I want to give Jackson Hayes some praise for some of his minutes. I want to give Vando some praise for some of his minutes. I really wanted to give Lakers praise tonight, and then they stopped all that from happening. Obviously, Cam Reddish was waived a little bit earlier today. Musab Awad. I literally stopped watching to break my fast. We were up 15, I think, from the start of the fourth. Turned back to see Getty's buzzer beater. Yeah, there's something about this team, man. They just, you just can't be comfortable. I kept hearing Stu Lance say, you got to close out the game. Can't get comfortable. Got to close out the game. This game ain't over. And then Chicago would make a run. And then Lakers would look like, okay, you know what? It's back. They got it comfortable again. Chicago would make another run. It was kind of a trip just watching the back and forth. It's a game that I think people will remember for a little bit. What they have this year, JJ Redick said it, some of the back-breaking losses. You had the loss to the Orlando Magic. That's when Franz Wagner hit that shot at the buzzer. He mentioned the Atlanta Hawks game was a really, really tough loss, and then you got this game against the Chicago Bulls. What a high-low for the Lakers in the last 2 nights. John Wayne, is this your high IQ king? Not a smart pass. Not a smart pass. I got nothing for you. Musab, thank you for the super. John Wayne, thank you for the super. I know you're always supporting the channel as well. Thank you for doing that. Brutal loss. Second seed is out of the picture now. I agree. Yeah, second seed's out of the picture. I mean, if it wasn't for some of these other teams playing some average ball, Denver 5-5 in the last 10, Lakers 4-6 in their last 10, Memphis 5-5 in the last 10. That's the only reason why the Lakers are hanging around here. Clippers, by the way, quietly 41-31, 10 games over 500, 8 of 10 they've won, and they're back in the number 6 spot. So you got some teams sneaking up. Only a 2-game cushion now on the Clippers and the Golden State Warriors. If you lose at Memphis on Saturday, you're half a game out from being in that number 7 seed. It depends what other teams do as well, but that just kind of gives you an idea of where everybody is right now. Luka's talking. Let's get to Luka here, get his thoughts, try to figure out what the hell happened tonight.
Just emotionally, what's that like? And what was the locker room like post game?
I mean, it's hard. If it was like that, we had basically had the game in hand, and when you lose like this, it's hard, especially on back to back. When I think we fall hard, it's hard to lose like that.
Speaking with JJ, you guys have another game in 2 days. He said you guys aren't in position to feel sorry for yourselves. What's the key to making sure that the emotions of the past 24 hours, the letdown, doesn't bleed over into Saturday's game against Memphis to close out the road trip?
No, I don't think it's about feeling sorry for ourselves. Just the way we lost. Like I said, we basically had the ball. The game in hand. So it's just the way we lost. But that's sometimes a good thing, sometimes a bad thing in the NBA that 1 or 2 days you have a nice game.
Luka, you're obviously a fierce competitor. How do you process the highs and the lows? Like, is it when you get back to the hotel? Are you able to erase it the next day? Does it stick with you till the next game?
I don't know. Depends on the game.
Like this, where it seems like you had it and then they hit a buzzer beater.
I mean, it's like the one I had in Cleveland last year, which was even a crazier shot. It was 3 quarters.
Oh, that's right.
Just got to process it. I mean, it's a tough way to lose, but it is what it is.
Max Reaves?
Yeah,
I remember that.
3 quarter shot. It's just crazy.
What
Final one
take
here.
Out of the team does seem to be getting closer to where you guys have been. Rui doesn't play tonight, but was big last night. LeBron getting more into shape. Do you kind of feel it coming?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think our third quarter weren't good. So today, I think we had to show that our third quarters needs to be better. But then we relaxed in the fourth quarter. So we just got to play the game for 48 minutes. If we play all 48 minutes with the same energy, we're hard to beat.
Tough to understand that, right? If we just play with the same energy for 48 minutes, that one I don't really understand. But it's not that it doesn't happen in sports and it doesn't happen in the NBA. And there aren't other teams that have shitty losses like this. But that one, this one's going to be a weird one to understand. Lake Show 1996, thank you for the super brother. Beast mode. Sliwa, make it make sense. You can't, my man. You can't. Literally, this is going to go down as one of the, I think James Worthy said it. By the way, all this video, every time I grab some of this video, and obviously it's all courtesy of Spectrum Sportsnet. Phenomenal crew there. So anyways, what I was saying there is James Worthy was saying that he thought this was the worst loss of the year, toughest to swallow, can't justify it, don't understand it. What were they doing? How can they be that careless with the basketball? Called out LeBron. I think a lot of people feel the same way. So beast mode, you're not too far off from how everybody else feels. A complete and utter meltdown. This team refuses to put a team away. Just awful. Yeah, can I tell you something about that? And JP Jazzman, let me tell you something about that. There was a stretch that the Lakers were beating teams and they were kind of demoralizing them. Now I feel like there's a stretch where the Lakers find ways to keep teams in games. You know what I mean? They're not able to that killer instinct that you have to have, that killer instinct that's so important when you're playing playoff games, that killer instinct when you're trying to lock up seeding in the Western Conference or whatever the case is, right? Whatever the scenario is. Those pieces are killing them right now. Those lack of pieces are killing them right now. Thank you for the super brother. I appreciate you. Suddenly, LeBron looks like a liability. Let me say this about LeBron here real quick, okay? It's a bad moment. It's a bad loss. That turnover was awful. No question about it. For those that think that the Lakers are better off with LeBron, because I've seen some of these comments here, and they think they can get further without LeBron this season, in the situation that we're in right now. Let me tell you what the recipe is for the Lakers to be successful the rest of this regular season and through the postseason. LeBron was balling before his injury, period. I don't care. You could hate LeBron as much as you want. Before LeBron got injured, he was balling. He was doing it at age 40. And, there was, before that loss against the Boston Celtics, I think a lot of people were saying, this guy's 7th, 8th best still in the NBA. Is he top 10? I don't think that was a question. Goes out with the injury. Clearly, it's taken him time to figure out how to get back to being LeBron James. But if you think the Lakers can make a run without LeBron healthy on this team and without LeBron being a true asset to this team, I don't know what you want me to tell you. Now, if you want to make an argument, hey, Slee, I do think at age 40, I don't know how many more years this guy can do it. Or, hey, Slee, in the offseason, they got to really make sure that they build around Luka, and then with the idea that Bron's here for another year or two, but they got to really kind of move the roster around to make sure that they can accommodate to where they are for the present and then for the future at the same time. That's a better argument. But if you guys don't think LeBron has been wildly successful at age 40 before the injury, I don't know what you guys have been watching. Doesn't mean he's perfect. Doesn't mean he doesn't have bad games. It doesn't mean any of that. But are we all of a sudden just pretending that through the first 60 games or so, LeBron wasn't doing phenomenal things? All right, let's take a look at let's see what else we got here. Okay, here's one. It took a while here. It took a while to get a positive one in here. LBJ, Luka, and AR need to get healthy. It'll be all right once playoffs start. I think the biggest advantage for the playoffs is going to be this, is you're finally going to get a chance once the playoffs start. You get that 5-6 days off. By the way, you got to avoid the playing tournament, or all of a sudden you don't get those 5 or 6 days off. And, then it's worry time. Then it's really worry time. But it's going to be so important for them to have those 5-6 games off. And then once they do, or one of those 5-6 days off. And once they do, I think the biggest thing that's going to be an advantage for them is they don't have to play back-to-backs. Obviously, today was a second of a back-to-back. Yesterday, they played against the Indiana Pacers. They still got 2 more back-to-backs left. They played 4 back-to-backs total in the month of March. I know Lakers gave up one of those games against the Milwaukee Bucks, so technically, however you want to count that. But there's a lot that also goes into that portion of it. So I appreciate the comment, and I appreciate everybody throwing all these comments in here. All right, let's keep going here. First here, before we go any further, I got to give a shout-out here. Shout-out to Brad Wallace and the Wallace firm. Shout-out to him and his team. Shout-out for him and his team being a main partner on the channel, obviously part of the Sliwa show, also a part of the Postgame show. Very, very appreciative that they've chose this channel to partner with. That's a personal relationship that I have with them. If you are someone close to you who's been seriously injured or is dealing with the loss of a loved one, you should find out what legal options you have. You deserve the absolute best in the business, the right legal team backing you, and of course, that's Brad Wallace and the Wallace firm. When it comes to holding insurance companies accountable and maximizing case results, my guy, Brad Wallace, and his legal team at the Wallace firm, they're the real deal. They consistently win big injury and wrongful death cases, and you won't pay them until they win for you. It's that simple. Built to win, proven trial lawyers. We got a URL here, wallacewins.com/Sliwa. wallacewins.com/Sliwa. If you want to learn more, you can get a free consultation there. They can help anybody in the state of California. Again, they consistently are trying to help those in winning big injury and wrongful death cases, and they could potentially help you. If you guys want a personal introduction to Brad Wallace, I'm happy to make it. Thank you for their support, and I appreciate everybody here that, as I do these reads, also understands how critical it is for the channel to have partnerships, and I'm happy to make an introduction if I can do so. All right, let's keep going here. Some more of your comments here. Who else is talking? Anybody else? Jackson Hayes, 9 of 11. 9 of 11 from the field. And what do you have? 8 rebounds, 19 points, 8 rebounds. That's a good night for Jackson Hayes. See what we got here on Instagram. They play like this, done in 4 in the. Oh, if they play like this, done in 4 in the first round. Marshall 24. We know Lakers won't win the championship. Yeah, honestly, to be even talking about anything like that, my mind can't even comprehend it. Josiah on Instagram. LeBron's got to get it together. Somebody predicting here, Celtics are going to be the 2025 NBA champions. I got to be honest with you there. It's not much of a stretch at all, obviously. I know I've said that. If you told me right now, pick one team, I'm still going to pick the Boston Celtics. They got to be healthy. OKC is interesting. Cleveland, I'll just have my doubt on until I see them do it in the postseason. Super Brew on Instagram. Too many threes late in the game, too, Slee. That should have been quality defense and a couple of buckets to win. Not the case. Just terrible, terrible basketball there towards the end. All right, what do we got here? 50 minutes in. Tomorrow, just a couple things going on tomorrow, by the way. Tomorrow, Trevor Lane's going to join the show. So Trevor Lane is going to join my morning show at 8 a.m., and he's going to hang out. We'll talk about these two gut-wrenching losses. I got somebody coming on tomorrow. I'm going to record separately because timing-wise, we couldn't do it at the same time. He's going to help. He covers the Memphis Grizzlies. So he's going to help us cover the Grizzlies-Lakers game coming up on Saturday. There's a lot that I want to learn about then. I'm doing a members show right after the live show tomorrow just for members. And we'll get some time to just kind of get one-on-one, a little bit more behind the scenes, talk a little bit about the channel, talk a little bit about the week, guests that we want to see for next week. I'm basically bringing on a Grizzlies beat writers because the members last week asked me to bring somebody on that's representing the Grizzlies, so that's why I'm doing that. So if you guys are yet to be a member, I'll put a link here. If you want to be a member, be phenomenal to have you as a member. It's $3 a month. Phenomenal way to support the channel. And a great way to show some love to the channel. So here's a link here if you guys want to be a MVP member. I wonder if Ja is playing Saturday. What do you guys think? I think he gets in there. Doesn't that always happen to the Lakers? Doesn't that always happen to the Lakers? Slee was a busy guy. Got to be honest with you. Not a bad gig. Not busy if you enjoy doing it. If you actually like what you're doing, and obviously I love the NBA, covering Lakers basketball. This is all good. All right, let's see. I wanted to see some stats here real quick. So Getty on the Lakers, Josh Getty, another triple-double, 25, 14, and 11. Let me give you the two games Josh Getty had against the Lakers. Ready for these ridiculous stats from Josh Getty? Last time Lakers played the Chicago Bulls, March 22nd, so Saturday, he had 15 points, 17 assists, 10 rebounds, and 8 steals. He followed that up with 25 points, 11 assists, and 14 rebounds. So in two games against the Lakers, Josh Giddey has 40 points, 10 steals, 37 assists. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Let me go back here. He had 40 points, 10 assists, 28 rebounds, 24 rebounds, and 28 assists. Oh, my God. Those numbers are – what the hell is that? Josh Giddey looked like Wilt Chamberlain. I think people put in the comments that he looked like Wilt Chamberlain against the Lakers. I think he was Wilt Chamberlain. A couple more comments. We'll go all the way to – we'll go to an hour. We'll get to an hour, and then we'll call it a night. Keep going here. I know there's some more people that want to give their thoughts. David Sabatini. 9 points in 12.6 seconds. Freaking embarrassing. Honestly, I don't even know how that's mathematically possible. David, thank you for the super. Jonathan Safar. Lakers aren't a good team anymore. Horrible. I hope you're wrong, but damn, do they look like a completely different team than 3 weeks ago. Let's get another one in here. Seiko. The outside noise is affecting Bron, JJ, and the Lakers. But what outside noise? You know what I mean? Like, okay. Maybe this is what you're talking about. I'm going to do this tomorrow on my show. I was thinking about this today. I was kind of thinking about tomorrow's show, some topics, listen to some different podcasts. If you're talking about the outside noise of LeBron and Stephen A. Smith and LeBron going on, obviously going on the Pat McAfee show. Somebody actually mentioned that yesterday. They said that I don't like all this distraction away from the game. Well, there's a lot of noise behind the scenes, or not behind the scenes. There's a lot of noise that has nothing to do with basketball. I don't know if that's affecting, anything. Maybe it is. I have no idea. I'm not here to try to tell you one way or the other. I'm just telling you that Lakers are finding ways to rack up some losses here. Medimed. Slee, at least we have the Dodgers. Love your show. No, not with you on that one, buddy. Padres fan. Yeah, so you have the Dodgers. I'm going to have to roll with the San Diego Padres here, buddy. 7-4 over the Atlanta Braves today, by the way. Just a heads up there. Michael King, 2 2/3 inning. Yeah, that's the ace for the Padres. He goes 2 2/3. I'm already stressed out. I got to worry about the Lakers over here. Now I got to already start worrying about the Padres. Can I have a second? Can I have a second to breathe? David Sabatini. LeBron leaving the man in the corner wide open is almost as worse as the bad pass. I know what they were doing at the end of the game, guys. I got no idea what they were doing. None of it made any sense. David Sabatini, thank you, brother. I appreciate the super. Everybody here. I mean, I appreciate you guys hanging out. You're sending supers or you're not. It really doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. It's just the fact that you guys are here and you're hanging out. I really appreciate it. All right, let's see what else we got here. NBA tracks clutch rating, but damn, the Lakers suck at clutch defense. Okay, let me do this here while we're here. Yeah, a lot of people still talking about this. We really killed our momentum with that Bucks game, Slee. I told you. A lot of people have been saying that. I still don't understand why they benched everybody that game. I know it was 6 of 8 and everything else, but I don't know. You were going to have 2 days off of 2 of the next 3 days you were going to have off. And they have not been the same team since that loss. I think there's a little bit there. I keep seeing people put the baseball gods and everything else. All right, let me just preview Lakers and the Grizzlies, and then we're going to call it a night here. So next game for the Lakers, it is let me look here real quick. See what time the game is at, just to make sure on Saturday. Is that a 5 o'clock? 5 o'clock game on Saturday night against the Memphis Grizzlies. I got no idea if Ja Morant is going to go. I'm going to look at the injury report real quick here. Tomorrow I'll get you guys a full preview of that game. We'll talk to one of the Memphis Grizzlies beat writers, does Locked On Grizzlies, does another podcast as well. Sammy's also going to have a preview video, so we'll have all that for you guys tomorrow. Ja Morant missed today's game against the Thunder out with a hamstring injury, so he didn't play. I know Brandon Clark is expected to miss the rest of the season, so I think it's really going to come down to what kind of game are we going to get here. If Ja Morant's in the game, if Ja Morant's not in the game. Listen, part of me would love to see Ja Morant there just to see what the Lakers look like against Memphis. And then there's other part of me, it's like they just need wins. So if the path is easier to get a W, we'll worry about, facing Ja Morant and the Memphis Grizzlies later. Now, they could very well face them in the playoffs. I mean, if the playoffs started today, right now, Lakers would have the Memphis Grizzlies. So something to keep in mind there. Okay, we'll get a final couple of comments in, and then we're out of here. See what else we got here. Too much iso ball Too much one-on-one ISO ball, critical moments is a problem. That's how I started the postgame show. That's the first thing that I said, and I put blame on J.J. Redick for not running plays. I agree with that. That's something that I noticed as well. It was very, very frustrating. Watch that all kind of play out. It's just not good basketball. And I think that was part of when the Lakers were getting the lead and they went up, they outscored them in the third quarter. The ball was moving. Luka was attacking. AR was attacking. Guys were all touching the ball. Guys were getting open looks. Goodwin was all over the place. Jackson Hayes was getting lobs. And then it just kind of all goes away. You know what? Let's take what we were doing well and let's just stop doing that in the entire fourth quarter. And let's also not play a lick of defense. Okay, I hit my hour mark. I appreciate it, everybody. Let's call it a night. I'm back on tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Like I said, I'm going to have Trevor Lane on the show tomorrow. He'll be hanging out. Hopefully you guys can hang out as well starting at 8 a.m. Thank you, everybody. Have a great rest of your night. Awful loss. Really shitty loss. Bulls over the Lakers, 119-117. We'll see you guys tomorrow morning. Thank you, everybody.